But what are the issues surrounding the suspension of hearings by the committee probing the disturbances at the Appointments Committee hearing? Chairman of the committee and the NDC MP for Ho West, the Honorable Emmanuel Bejra, has joined us in the studio to give us more details. Honorable, welcome to Channel One Newsroom.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to clarify issues.
Right, great. So from what you told pressmen that we've watched, you said that the clerk had asked that the sittings be suspended. The Speaker of Parliament, who gave you the green light to do this proceedings, is he in the know? And is it really the clerk who asked you to put on hold things?
Well, thank you once again. Let me say that the Speaker was not in the know at all. As a matter of fact, after the what happened at the committee sitting, I decided to meet with the clerk and the two leadership, including the deputy speakers, at the speaker's lobby. And when I got there, I was told that, oh, the speaker has given instructions. So then I called speaker, because the speaker has traveled. And they all said that, oh, they were not able to get in touch with the speaker on phone. So I called speaker.
This is both leadership
Yeah, of course, all of them. Apenyo Kinso was there. Ayariga was there. The two deputy speakers were there. The later on were joined by the deputy minority leader, as well as the deputy minority whip. Okay. And so I went with my committee members to find out what really happened, because we do not understand. In fact, the speaker's instruction, even on the last, that was yesterday, was specifically that the committee should continue with its work.
Yeah.
So we're confused as to what was really happening. And they said, well, when Speaker gave instruction, he said we should hold on. They spoke to Speaker, and Speaker directed that we should, since they've apologized, we should hold on to this. And I said, no, that was not the instruction I received from the Speaker. The instruction everybody heard Speaker loud and clear yesterday that the committee should continue it. So I will call Speaker before the other call Speaker. And Speaker said he has not given an instruction that we should stop, that we should go ahead. And so in the chaos, we decided that, well, we have already suspended it. And then the way forward is to allow the Speaker to return and give specific instruction.
The Speaker returns on Friday.
He returns on Friday, so he'll give his instruction as to the way forward.
Right. Do you think this directive coming from the Clerk of Parliament has anything to do with the minorities' cooperation to this committee?
Honestly, this whole, stoppage came from the minority side. Right. I can tell you on authority that we started very well. The vice chair of the committee, Honorable Enyimedu, was part of the interrogation when we started. He joined initially at our initial preliminary planning session through Zoom, and he gave his indication that he was going to be part of it. The Honorable Abina Asari.
We didn't see her there today.
You didn't see her. In fact, she joined initially, but she couldn't connect. Okay. And then the following day, when we started screening, we wanted to view all the videos so that we can make determination as to those who were involved. And that is what we did today. She couldn't make it as well. So I met her and I said, well, what was the issue? So she could not join because she was in her constituency. So I told her tomorrow, that's today, we'll be having our first public hearing. They said, okay, we'll see what happens. So when my colleague Enyumedo came, he said, well, there's an indication coming from their end that they should not be part of it. Then I said, why are you here? So no, this is a public duty. And so he's here because Speaker has asked him to come.
Right.
So we did our first interrogation. We had our first witness, the leader of the House, Honorable Ayariga was there. We had the first, and then we move on to Honorable Ahiafo, the Deputy Speaker, and then to Honorable Agboja, and then to Honorable Jifa, and then two other. We had close to about 10 witnesses. Then he whispered into my ears that, well, he has to go and see his leader. So I said, why? What for? And so his leader is calling him. There and there, a colleague of mine was just sitting on my right, said, well, one of the witnesses who was billed today from the minority side was on his way coming. Right. And that what time should he come? And so anytime at all, we'll give him the opportunity, because we've not had anybody coming from the minority. So for him coming from the minority, that'll be a good thing for us. And so when Enyumedu was leaving, I told him that one of your colleagues will be coming. So he should stay so that we can interrogate him. So he has to rush. So he went and came back and said, well, minority leader says I should not continue with, but he will stay behind and watch. I said, no, if you will not continue, then there was no need for you. So he left. And then we received a text message from the other colleague who was coming, was told by the minority
Which
leader.
is the Honorable Abena?
No.
The one coming to be as a witness.
As a witness. Yeah. Said, well, he has received instruction from their leadership that nobody should come. And so I got worried. Then we said, okay, we will continue. We are not bothered at all because the committee is made up of 7 people. The quorum is 3, and we were 4. In fact, we were 4. No, we're 5
for today.
Left for today. Left only 1 person. So if the other 2 will not come, we still have quorum to conduct business. So let's go ahead and do whatever we're supposed to do. And we started very well. We're doing, in the middle of nowhere, the clerk came and said he wanted to meet me outside. So I went to meet him and I said, oh, has Speaker told me anything? I said, Speaker, no, Speaker has not given any instruction. So you see, we have had this agreement that since the other side have apologized, the 2 sides have apologized, and they've agreed to pay for the damages, he thinks that we should not. I said, no way. I'm not going to accept this because this is not good for the public image. It's not good for us as members of parliament. Yeah. If you watch the video, my sister, it is disgrace. It is not good at all. And I don't think we should continue doing this thinking that we are protecting ourselves. Right. What are we, showing to our younger folks out there? As members of parliament, we are honorable members of parliament. We should show that we are honorable members of parliament. So I said, no way, I'm going back there. And I walked back and I continue with mine. He came 4 times. And I realized he was getting too much on my nerves. So I said, well, that's why I mentioned specifically that the clerk came and instructed that we should halt. Because he even threatened that he was going to withdraw his staff. The clerks that were taking note, he was going to withdraw. If he was going to withdraw his staff, then it means I don't have any tool to work with, and I don't want to be naked. So I decided, well, for the interest of my committee members and the larger interest, let's suspend sitting. So we have suspended sitting, waiting for the Speaker to return.
On Friday. All right. So we're still in the studio with the chairman of the committee investigating previous incidents in Parliament House. So the NDC MP for Whole West, Emmanuel Bejra, he's here in the studio as we look at matters arising following today's incident during the hearings where we're told the Clerk of Parliament asked that the sessions be put on hold. The Honorable Bejra has taken us through what really happened during that period. But what goes into you bringing witnesses to the committee? You said before that earlier you're expecting somebody from the other side, but we saw most of the people from the NDC side. What goes into that? Thank you very much, Vivian. Initially, we met on Monday to draw up a program as to how we will have our committee, program done. And the first thing we did was to watch the videos that came because we were not there. Almost all of us were not part of the appointment committee, so we didn't know exactly what happened. So, during our interaction and our programming, we decided that we'll watch the videos and also request videos from whoever, media houses. So we gave our numbers there that they should give us videos and voices, whatever you have, just send it to us. Then we got an expert from the Signal Bureau to authenticate some of the videos, whether they were dotted or it was, original videos. And so we watched the video on Tuesday. We watched all the videos on Tuesday. The expert was there. He authenticated majority of them, even the ones from outside, outside the normal channels. That's the main channels of GTV, yourself, and all the media houses that we know. And so what we did was that we identified those who will be witnesses because the instruction from the Speaker was to identify the culprit. That was our clear mandate. Because Speaker has already decided that this is what he was going to do. He was going to surcharge those who we found culpable. So the culprits would be those who broke the table, exactly, or destroyed public property. Those who pulled the microphones, all those. Exactly, you have it there. And so what we did was that we decided to line up all witnesses. Anybody that we found on any part of the video, the screen, will come and witness and tell us exactly what they've witnessed and happened.
And so that was the first part, today.
Okay.
Then tomorrow, we're to bring in, so we identified about 23 people, including the marshal.
But this doesn't include visitors who had come in. We saw chiefs. You come to that. Okay.
I'll come to that. And then we also said, okay, after this one, the 23 people, we'll bring in those who we identify, including the 4 people.
Okay.
In fact, so we identify about 10 people.
Okay.
10 members of parliament, including one, citizen who is not even a member of parliament. We noticed that he was going up and down throughout, to the extent that he even held some of the table.
Okay.
Non-member of parliament, we call them strangers in the house, moving from one place to another, talking to everybody. What was he doing there? So we're going to ask him to come and then find out tomorrow, including look at what happened. Look at, including some of our colleagues.
You're so embarrassed when you see the videos.
So embarrassed. And so that was what we're going to do tomorrow. And tomorrow's own was to be in camera because it was so shameful.
Okay. So tomorrow we're moving it to the next level, because today the questions were not so.
No, it's because they are witnesses. They are just to tell us whether they were there or the video that we all saw. So we played a video for them to see first, and they all attest to the fact that yes, this was the video, and it's true, nothing has been dotted, and then what we saw there were the truth. So the next level was to tell the whole world that this and that person. You will see somebody, pulling the table, somebody lifting the table, somebody breaking the table. And so each speaker has identified 4 people. It wasn't only 4 people. There were more than 4 people.
That's right.
So we will bring on board all those people that we identify and then add it to our list of corporates. So
that one wouldn't have been public. Do you think today's developments may have been halted because somebody thought all that will be public, and that will be an embarrassment?
Your guess is as good as mine. But you see, they should have waited for us to finish today's own, and then we'll have a conclave and decide at a net level. But you see, Parliament is a public place. If we sign on to Open Government Partnership, which is the OGP, every transparent country, any country who is developing, will decide to open up its public space. And so if we have opened our public space, which is Parliament, being a public space, what do we have to hide? Why do we have to shelve some of these things? We did it. If you are embarrassed by going as a member of Parliament, lifting public property, destroying public property, why are you embarrassed? These videos are all over the place.
Yeah.
So if we bring you to come and tell us why you did that, was it because we were so angry? If you are angry, can't you check your own anger as a member of Parliament? Why are you called honorable? I'm happy the Speaker mentioned that on Friday, that he didn't address us honorable on that day because he was so angry. In fact, it was dishonorable.
Right. You say you're waiting for the Speaker, which you are likely to expect him on Friday. Does it mean that the hearings may resume on Monday next week?
So we have a meeting tomorrow, Thursday, myself and the rest of the committee members, to decide on one thing, and the decision will be to wait for the Speaker to come and give directives. Okay. Because this is so embarrassing that in the middle of public hearing, the Clerk of Parliament will ask us to stop. It's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing not to the committee members, but it's embarrassing to the entirety of Parliament.
Should he be sanctioned for what he did?
Well, now I will leave that entirely in the hands of the Speaker.
All right. And would you think this delay or this halt will affect your submission of the final report to the Speaker? Well,
even today, my co-chair, my vice chair, indicated that we should go deeper, especially with the corporate. I will use the word corporate. They are not corporate. They're alleged corporates. We should go deeper because we should know why they did certain things. So he was asking that we should talk to Speaker to extend the time for us. Yeah. But with this development, I don't think it is clear. But for the fact that you need natural justice, you need the person to come and testify that, yes, I did it. Otherwise, there's no way that you cannot hold somebody who decided to do what the person he did. I don't think why we cannot write the report that indeed those people were involved. But because of natural justice, and our constitution says you give people the opportunity to defend themselves. That's why.
Okay. My final question. Are you hoping that the minority will be part of this moving forward? Well, based on what you know, the background, what you
Well, that's why we're waiting for the Speaker, because if today one of their own kind was on his way and the leader asked him not to come, the Speaker will give instruction. Okay. That is why we decided to hold on to the Speaker account to clarify issues. The Speaker said we should go ahead and that we should continue the public hearing, we'll go ahead. But if the Speaker says we should do in camera too, we'll go ahead in camera, and then our report will come out.
Because you also have the power to help people.
Of course, as you all know, our Constitution says that we have powers as far as that of the High Court.
All right, thank you very much, the Honourable
Thank you, Vivian. I'm grateful.
MP, NDC MP for Whole West, the Honourable Emmanuel Bejra, for joining us.
Thank you.